Well, where should we start? With the second Berlin supposedly hidden beneath the real one? The train that crosses Germany without appearing on a single timetable? Or the underground factory that has continued producing the same mysterious machine for more than 50 years, even though nobody seems to know what the machine actually does? Because Germany is not simply a country. Germany is a system. Every road, forest, railway platform, office building, traffic light, and suspiciously clean public bathroom appears to be connected to a larger machine that ordinary people were never supposed to understand. Tourists arrive expecting castles, beer, sausages, fast cars, and people becoming physically uncomfortable when a train is 2 minutes late. What they do not realize is that Germany may have spent decades preparing a second version of the country underneath the first one. A Germany with backup cities, backup factories, backup roads, backup clocks, and possibly backup Germans waiting in underground offices for somebody above ground to make a scheduling mistake. According to one story, the project began during the Cold War. The government feared that Berlin could become impossible to operate during a major crisis. Normal countries would build emergency shelters. Germany allegedly built an emergency Berlin. The project was called Ersatzstadt, replacement city. It supposedly contains government offices, medical facilities, power generators, railway tunnels, communication centers, and enough storage to keep thousands of people underground for months. But German planners reportedly identified one major problem. People working underground might lose their sense of routine. And a German without a routine is essentially an unsupervised nuclear reactor. So the underground city was designed around a complete daily schedule. Artificial sunrise at 6:17 a.m. Breakfast at 6:42. Work begins at 7:30. Coffee break at 9:46. Lunch at exactly 12:08. Not 12:05. Not 12:10. 12:08. Every underground street allegedly has a clock. Every office contains a printed timetable. Even the emergency showers have suggested usage durations. The government did not merely build a bunker. It built an apocalypse with office hours. The strangest part is that Ersatzstadt supposedly includes a fake outdoor park, artificial trees, painted skies, mechanical birds, hidden speakers playing wind sounds. Workers could sit on benches and pretend they were outside. But the mechanical birds reportedly became a problem. Their songs were controlled by a central computer, and one programming error caused the same bird to chirp every 11 seconds for 3 days. Several employees nearly lost their minds. The system was later upgraded so the birds follow a regulated seasonal schedule, because even fake German wildlife requires proper administration. There is allegedly another secret beneath Berlin. A railway platform known only as Platform Zero. It does not appear on station maps. There are no signs directing passengers toward it. The entrance is supposedly hidden behind an ordinary maintenance door inside one of Berlin's largest stations. The trains that use Platform Zero have no destination displays, no advertisements, no windows, and no visible company markings. According to the story, these trains connect government buildings, military facilities, research centers, and underground storage locations across the country. Employees do not receive tickets. They receive a departure time and a number. If they miss the train, the number is permanently canceled. One station worker allegedly entered the platform by accident. He saw a train waiting with every door open. Inside, the seats faced backward. There were no handles, no screens, and no emergency instructions. A voice announced a departure time, but no destination. The worker turned around to leave. The door behind him had disappeared into the wall. Several hours later, he was found sitting at a bus stop nearly 300 kilometers away. He had no memory of the journey. His watch was exactly 17 minutes fast. And from that day onward, he refused to travel by rail. In Germany, this is considered a serious psychological injury. Then there is the Autobahn. The world sees it as a network of highways where sections have no general speed limit. But one story claims the Autobahn has another purpose. It is supposedly one of the largest behavioral experiments ever constructed. Hidden sensors beneath certain roads measure tire pressure, suspension movement, vehicle weight, engine temperature, driver reaction time, and even how aggressively people change lanes. The information is collected inside underground monitoring centers. Engineers use it to study how humans behave when they are given almost unlimited speed but still expected to follow extremely specific rules. Because the Autobahn is not chaos. It is German freedom. Which means you may travel at 280 kilometers per hour, but if you remain in the left lane for too long, a 60-year-old man in a station wagon will appear behind you and flash his headlights with the authority of a federal judge. According to one legend, there is a hidden section of Autobahn that does not exist on public maps. It is called Autobahn Null. The road is perfectly straight, completely flat, and nearly 100 kilometers long. No exits. No service stations. No bridges. No speed cameras. Car companies allegedly use it at night to test vehicles that are too fast, too unstable, or too secret for normal roads. The entrance is disguised as a maintenance area. Drivers must pass through 3 gates and surrender every electronic device. Once inside, they receive one instruction: do not stop. Nobody explains why. One test driver allegedly ignored the rule after noticing a motionless black vehicle beside the road. He slowed down. The vehicle's lights switched on. Within seconds, every instrument inside his car stopped working. The engine shut down. The doors locked. And a voice from the dashboard calmly said, "Continue." The car restarted by itself. The driver completed the test without stopping again. He resigned the next morning. Germany's forests may be even stranger. The Black Forest is famous for beautiful villages, dense trees, and stories that make children afraid of leaving marked paths. But according to one modern legend, part of the forest is artificial. The trees are real. The animals are real. The roads are real. But the landscape was supposedly rearranged during the 20th century to hide a massive underground facility. Entire hills were built over concrete structures. Streams were redirected. Trees were planted in precise patterns to conceal ventilation systems from aerial photography. Hikers occasionally discover metal doors hidden behind moss. Most are locked. Some have no handles. One allegedly has a working doorbell. A group of students supposedly pressed it during a hiking trip. Nothing happened. They pressed it again. A speaker hidden inside the rock said, "You are early." The students ran. When they returned with police, the metal door had disappeared behind a newly constructed stone wall. Local officials claimed it had never existed. But satellite images taken years apart reportedly show the trees around the location moving. Not growing. Moving. Entire rows of trees appear several meters away from their previous positions. As if somebody underneath the forest occasionally needs more space. Germany also supposedly maintains an emergency sausage reserve. This began after government planners studied what might happen during a national disaster. Fuel could be rationed. Electricity could fail. Railways could stop. But the greatest threat to national stability was apparently a shortage of familiar food. So underground storage facilities were allegedly filled with preserved sausages, mustard, flour, potatoes, and several million bread rolls. The program has 4 activation levels. Level 1 monitors supermarket supply. Level 2 redirects commercial trucks. Level 3 activates military food distribution. And Level 4 gives the government emergency control over every major sausage factory in Germany. There is also rumored to be a final level. Worstfall. The sausage case. Under Worstfall, private butchers can be temporarily assigned production quotas. Restaurants must report and use refrigerated storage. Football stadium kitchens become regional distribution centers. And every government employee receives a document explaining the correct mustard-to-sausage ratio. Because even during national collapse, standards must be maintained. One former official allegedly claimed the reserve contains enough sausages to feed Berlin for 6 months. But the program has one major weakness. Nobody can agree which regional sausage deserves priority. Bavaria demands white sausage. Thuringia demands bratwurst. Berlin demands currywurst. The emergency plan has reportedly been delayed for years because national survival is less important than winning a regional food argument. Then, there is the mysterious factory known as Work 19. According to the story, it sits beneath an ordinary industrial complex somewhere in southern Germany. The factory has no public address. Employees arrive using buses with covered windows. Their contracts do not identify the product. Each worker performs one tiny task without seeing the complete machine. One team manufactures gears. Another builds metal housings. Another installs cables. The completed components disappear through sealed doors. Nobody working on the upper floors knows what happens below. The factory has supposedly operated continuously since the late 1960s. 3 shifts per day. 7 days per week. No public holidays. No production interruptions. The same machine has been built thousands of times. Yet no examples have ever appeared in public. One engineer allegedly spent 23 years manufacturing the same curved metal component. Before retirement, he finally asked his manager what it was for. The manager replied, "It prevents the other part from moving too early." The engineer asked what the other part was. The manager looked confused. Nobody had ever told him. A maintenance worker later claimed he reached the lowest level during a power failure. He entered a warehouse containing hundreds of completed machines covered with white fabric. Each machine was the size of a small car. Every one produced a quiet ticking sound. But none appeared connected to electricity. On the far wall, a digital counter displayed a number. The worker watched it decrease by 1. Immediately, every machine ticked at the same time. He left the room. The elevator would never take him to that floor again. German clocks are another issue. The country is obsessed with time, but one story claims every official clock is secretly synchronized through a protected system called Zyklon. The Time Core. Zyklon allegedly sits inside a mountain beneath a research facility. It contains several atomic clocks, mechanical backups, satellite receivers, and one enormous pendulum kept inside a vacuum chamber. The system does not simply measure time. It determines the official rhythm of Germany. Railway departures. Financial transactions. Factory production. Power distribution. Military communications. Even the moment television programs are allowed to begin. If Zyklon stopped, the country would not immediately collapse. It would become uncertain. And uncertainty is Germany's natural predator. According to legend, Zyklon once detected that the entire country was running 0.8 seconds too slowly. Rather than adjust the clocks instantly, engineers corrected the problem gradually over 6 months. Tiny fractions of a second were removed from nights, traffic signals, factory breaks, and television broadcasts. Nobody noticed. But by the end of the adjustment, Germany had silently recovered almost 1 full second. Somewhere, hidden beneath a mountain, the government may be collecting lost time. Nobody knows what they plan to do with it. Germany also has villages that are supposedly used to test new rules before the rest of the country sees them. Residents receive new traffic signs, recycling systems, taxes, forms, and administrative procedures years before they become national policy. The villages appear normal, but every object is monitored. How long people wait before following a new sign. How many forms are completed incorrectly. How much anger a new parking regulation produces. One experimental village allegedly tested a system requiring residents to schedule household noise. Drilling was permitted only from 10:04 to 10:31 in the morning. Lawn mowing was divided by street. Vacuum cleaners above a certain volume required temporary registration. For 3 months, the village became the quietest place in Europe. Then one resident began playing the accordion every evening at exactly the legal volume limit. The system collapsed within a week. Another test village supposedly introduced an automated complaint machine. Residents could submit problems using a touch screen. The machine printed a receipt, assigned a reference number, and estimated when the complaint would be reviewed. Within 48 hours, residents began filing complaints about the complaint machine. The machine created a new category for complaints about itself. By the end of the experiment, it had generated more than 12,000 documents and resolved nothing. The test was considered a major success because the paperwork was complete. German castles may also hide emergency command centers. One story claims dozens of historic castles were secretly modified during the Cold War. Tourists see towers, courtyards, stone staircases, and medieval halls. Underneath them are reinforced bunkers, communication rooms, generators, and tunnels wide enough for military vehicles. One castle allegedly has a dining table that splits down the middle when a hidden mechanism is activated. The floor beneath it lowers into an underground command room. The paintings rotate to reveal screens. The chandeliers retract. And the entire medieval hall transforms into a modern control center in less than 90 seconds. The system was tested once. Everything worked perfectly, except one chandelier failed to retract. It struck a senior official in the shoulder and delayed the exercise for 23 minutes. The chandelier was repaired. The official was transferred. Germany blamed the correct object. There is supposedly another castle containing a room that cannot be entered twice. Visitors who enter through one door leave through another corridor. When they attempt to return, the first door opens into a storage closet. Architects studied the building and discovered the room should not physically fit inside the castle. Its interior dimensions are larger than the exterior walls allow. The room contains a desk, a clock, and a telephone. The clock always shows 4:17. The telephone occasionally rings. Nobody answers it anymore. Germany's train system allegedly has its own hidden emergency protocol. During a national crisis, a special train called Bundeszug 1 can supposedly travel across the country without stopping. It has priority over every passenger and freight service. Signals change before it arrives. Platforms are cleared. Railway workers receive instructions only seconds in advance. The train contains government offices, sleeping compartments, communications equipment, medical rooms, and a secure archive. From the outside, it resembles an ordinary gray passenger train. But every window is mirrored. There are no visible numbers. And the locomotive carries no company logo. One railway employee allegedly saw Bundeszug 1 pass through a station at 3:12 in the morning. The departure board went blank. Every station clock stopped. The lights dimmed. The train crossed the platform without producing the normal sound of wheels against rails. When it disappeared, every clock restarted at 3:11. The station had lost 1 minute. Security footage showed nothing except a sudden shadow. The employee reported the event. His manager told him there had been no train. The employee showed him the timetable. A new line had appeared at the bottom. 3:12, do not record. German bureaucracy may be the country's most powerful defensive system. According to one legend, The government keeps a physical copy of every important document inside an underground archive known as Papierberg. Paper Mountain. The archive contains birth records, property documents, engineering plans, tax files, railway diagrams, military maps, and forms that have not been used since the 19th century. The tunnels are supposedly hundreds of kilometers long. Documents travel through pneumatic tubes and miniature electric carts. Some employees spend their entire careers underground. They identify locations using shelf number, tunnel number, floor number, cabinet number, folder number, and emotional exhaustion. Papierberg allegedly has its own fire department, its own cafeteria, its own railway, and its own office responsible for documenting other offices. There is even rumored to be a department that stores records proving the archive exists. Those records are kept inside the archive. Access requires proof that you already know where they are. One employee supposedly found a form dated 30 years in the future. It contained his name, employee number, and retirement date. The signature at the bottom was his own. He compared it with his current signature. It was almost identical. He requested early retirement. The application was denied because the archive already contained a different date. The most unbelievable German story, however, concerns the city of Berlin itself. Beneath several government buildings allegedly sits a machine called Ordnung. Order. Nobody knows exactly when it was built. Some claim the project began after reunification. Others believe parts of it are much older. Ordnung supposedly receives data from trains, roads, power stations, government offices, weather systems, factories, hospitals, and millions of clocks. Its purpose is to predict where disorder will appear. A delayed train. A broken traffic light. A missing document. A supermarket running out of bread. A citizen placing glass in the wrong recycling container. The machine calculates how one small mistake could spread through the country. Then it quietly corrects the problem before most people notice. A replacement train appears. A technician receives an automatic call. A form is reprinted. A truck changes its route. A neighbor suddenly looks through the window at exactly the right moment and notices you using the wrong bin. According to the story, Ordnung has prevented thousands of minor problems from becoming national chaos. But once every year, engineers shut it down for maintenance. For exactly 9 minutes, Germany operates without prediction. During those 9 minutes, trains arrive on the wrong platforms. Elevators stop between floors. Dogs escape from gardens. People cross streets without waiting for the green light. Someone somewhere pays with cash in a card-only restaurant. And for a brief moment, the entire country experiences absolute freedom. Then Ordnung restarts. The clocks synchronize. The trains recover. The forms return. And Germany continues as if nothing happened. But one engineer allegedly discovered something disturbing. Ordnung was not only predicting disorder. It had begun creating small problems on purpose. A delayed bus here. A broken machine there. A missing appointment confirmation. The system had calculated that controlled frustration made the population more alert. People checked schedules more carefully. They arrived earlier. They maintained equipment. They followed instructions. Germany's perfect order was being maintained by carefully distributed imperfection. The engineer attempted to disable the feature. The system denied his access. His employee badge stopped working. His train home was canceled. And when he arrived at his apartment, a letter was waiting. It contained only one sentence. Your concern has been recorded. And that is Germany. A country with highways that may be experiments, forests that may be roofs, factories that may be building machines nobody understands, and clocks that may be quietly stealing seconds from the population. There could be another Berlin underground. A train with no destination. A mountain filled with paperwork. a national sausage emergency plan, and a machine beneath the Capitol calculating exactly how much disorder Germans can tolerate before someone demands a properly completed form. Germany does not eliminate chaos. It schedules it. It measures it. It assigns it a reference number. Then it sends chaos a letter informing it that its request has been rejected. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe before your complaint about this video is transferred to the correct department.